Welcome to Progress in San Diego, Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. I'm your host, Walter Davis. And this evening we have the honor to have Wendy Craig, an organizer with the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and Xavier McGregor, her son, who is a student activist and organizer also with the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Welcome to the show, Wendy and Xavier. So, tell me, what is the Uhuru Solidarity Movement?
Okay, the Uhuru Solidarity Movement is an activist organization of primarily North American whites who work under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela of the African People's Socialist Party. And we organize for reparations and African liberation by winning over whites in our community to the cause of African liberation. Some of the things that we do is we educate people about the conditions of people in Africa and in the U.S. Because of the policies of the U.S. in terms of colonization and exploitation of African people and resources, and also how all of our wealth has been accumulated through genocide of indigenous people and through the enslavement of Africans. So we work to hopefully change how we are working in this society and ensuring that the African working class is at the forefront of any decisions.
Okay, so that's quite a lot now. So how do you speak to people that say that, you know, black people in this country are free? How do you speak to people that say that you're just bashing America? You know, you're saying that America is bad, they do all these things. How do you speak to people that are saying, okay, socialist, that's a bad word. I heard you say socialist.
Yes.
Can you speak on that?
I'm learning to speak on that. I'm relatively new to the organization, and the only thing I can do is really speak from my experience as a white person, and always just living in a way where it just feels like things aren't quite right, that I seem to be having way more privileges than a lot of people in the world. And so it's a matter of convincing people that if you told somebody, hey, you can have the American dream, you can have a house, a car, a nice job, but you're gonna have to pay black people 30 cents a day, and you're gonna have to probably kill a lot of Africans in order to do this, and you're gonna have to steal the land from indigenous people and take people's resources away, enslave people, put them in prison in order for you to live like this. I don't think a lot of people would want to do that, but that's what we do in America today. So it's really asking people to get off this pedestal of white power and working in collaboration with most of the population of the world.
So a much more peaceful coexistence. Because it appears as though maybe a lot of people are simply not aware, as you said, of the genocide and the taking of natural resources from other countries. For example, the debate we're having now over illegal immigration.
Yes.
One of the reasons why Mexican Americans are coming across the border illegally is because our immigration policies are an impediment in terms of getting citizenship, but American corporations have destroyed the Mexican agricultural economy, so they lost their jobs and farms and ranches, and so they're coming across the border. So people are simply dumbed down and not aware of some of the facts, and we'll get further into that. Xavier, you are a young 17-year-old senior. Tell me about you. How are you involved in this?
I actually got involved in organizing and activism mainly from a class I actually had at Lincoln High School for the Center for Social Justice. We actually have an entire curriculum, a specific class designed to teaching us about social justice issues in the world, and basically revealing many things that were not taught in our every average day history class, where we're taught more about our own history, our own leaders, our own great thinkers, and different things that are globally supposedly accepted, like the treaty for, what it's not called the treaty, but the national human rights. We learn about things like that, which the UN has imposed, things like that, that America has agreed to, but the average everyday American doesn't understand or hasn't been told. So we're taught a lot of different courses which give us self-determination, first off, teach us about our own community and our own history, and then we're taught how to apply that in our community by organizing after school, not just bake sales and that average everyday thing you hear kids doing, but we're protesting in front of courthouses, marching down the streets. We're trying to change serious issues that affect our community.
I see. So as young people, you're getting involved in trying to make change where you see there is injustice, essentially, is what you're saying. Now, Wendy, tell me, what's the payoff? What's the payoff for white Americans to get involved with this type of movement?
Well, I think, you know, a lot of what we see in our country and around the world at this time is really a result of imperialism and the exploitation. And for instance, you know, the BP oil spill, things of that nature. We are really letting corporations rule what we do. And if we were working more towards an African liberation movement that took into consideration all people in the world, a lot of these problems that we're having in terms of how we treat the planet and how we treat people would disappear. We would have a different way of doing things, a way that I think is more respectful to all communities and to all people. So again, you know, as a white person in America, you can go through your life without understanding some basic truths because they're hidden so well. But once you learn those truths, you really can't unlearn them, and you really can't go back. And I think for me personally, many years ago when I went through my master's program, it was a social justice program, and it really taught me about all the privilege I receive as a white person in the United States. At that time, I didn't have any way to really apply what I learned except working within the system. It's only in the last year that I've decided that this system doesn't really work and that I'd prefer to work outside the system, hence the socialism, which is the dirty word. And also for me, when I see my son as a young African male getting pulled over by the police constantly, you know, just the kinds of things that he goes through on a daily basis as a young black man, it's hard for me to ignore it because it's right here in my own home.
So you have a direct link to seeing injustice as it's perpetrated against your son.
Yes.
And so with my grandmother being a white woman, then people don't necessarily see that.
Yeah.
So that privilege doesn't get transmitted down to your kids.
Yes.
So why do you think people have this negative connotation about socialism? I mean, it appears to be okay that in capitalism we have 3% of the population ruling the rest of us and making all the money, and we have poverty, people sleeping on the streets, we have people getting their homes taken away. That seems to be okay. But when you mention the word socialism or revolutionary, people get upset. Could you expand on that? Could you both speak on that, you know, from your perspectives?
One of the main things that people, I guess, really need to understand is most people hear socialism and they don't understand its true meanings. They don't understand its theory, its what it truly is. That's why, like in the class I took, we were taught about Marxism, we were taught about socialism, we were taught about capitalism, and we were taught about their origins, their beginnings, way before the beginning of America, and how we've adopted ideas throughout our history. And one thing you need to understand is that America, although we are a capitalist, imperialist nation, we in our everyday lives witness socialism going on in the form of police that we pay for. You know, all these different programs and taxes which go towards communal systems of whether they be some type of welfare or medical programs. This is socialism. And when we're speaking about socialism, we're actually speaking about a new socialism, a refined, reformed idea.
So that new socialism that we follow or believe in is called African internationalism. And it's a theory that was developed by Chairman Omali Yeshitela of the African People's Socialist Party through all his examination and analysis of the different revolutionary organizations coming out of the Black Power movement, by analyzing Marxism, and he's just developed this scientific theory, and that's the theory that we follow. And actually, one of the events that's going to be going on in San Diego on September 16th, we have it's called African People's Solidarity Day. And so Penny Hess, and she's the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee, which oversees the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, she'll be coming to San Diego. She wrote a book called Overturning the Culture of Violence, which explains Chairman Omali's theory of African internationalism. And she wrote this book essentially to teach white people about what the benefit is in embracing African liberation and what it can do for us as whites. Because really, you know, as white people, we live in fear. You know, we live in fear, and we live in ways where we feel we have to be protected from so much of the community. And really in our hearts, we know that what we're doing is really not right. When you see all the things that happen, like for instance, the example I'll give, you know, I've been pulled over for speeding, and they just pull you over and they talk to you and they take your license and things like that. My son got pulled over for speeding. That's what they said they pulled him over for. And he's driving down the street, and a police car cuts him off in front. 5 police cars come behind him. They take him and his friends out. They handcuff one of his friends. They put him on the curb. They search him and they search his car. That's not how white people get pulled over for speeding. That's how a young African American male gets pulled over for speeding. And when you see that disparity, you have to understand there's something wrong. So when Penny Hess comes to town, she'll be speaking at San Diego State University, and also I'm hoping at the South Sudanese Community Center. And also we'll be doing a membership drive for Uhuru Solidarity, because we are trying to establish a branch in San Diego. We're also focused on reviving the San Diego INPDUM branch, which is the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. And that's an organization, it's African-led, but anyone can join that organization. And they do a lot of work around different issues, especially local issues that might be occurring in the community, particularly around, say, police containment, police brutality, healthcare issues, different kinds of access issues. So we're hoping to do a membership drive for both Uhuru Solidarity and for INPDUM. And we'll have a speaker from INPDUM coming from Oakland, as well as Penny Hess coming from St. Petersburg, Florida. So we're hoping to have a really good day.
Well, that sounds very exciting and very enlightening in a lot of ways. So what I'm hearing you say to me is that these are really just American issues, as well as international in scope.
Yes.
But it's not just a black issue, not just a white issue. But I'm hearing, you know, that there are Africans involved with this, that we're looking at the Latino community,
yes,
the Asian community, people that have been victimized by the corporate elites, the ruling elite of this country. So tell me some more about your current actions. I see a mention here about the 5th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party. Would you like to expand on that some?
Yeah, actually, my son and I, we just returned from Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago, and we went to the 5th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party. That event hasn't been held for 10 years. And so I went and met up with a lot of the Solidarity members, and my son, he's met many of the people in the African People's Socialist Party before, but there were different workshops and panels, different revolutionary organizations, under something called the Black is Back Coalition, where different revolutionary forces are uniting together on common issues. The attaché from the Venezuelan government was there to discuss the bloodless coup that had occurred in Venezuela and what they're doing. And then, I don't know, maybe my son can speak to a little more of some of the things he learned.
Well, you can just imagine that you guys are just pushing the buttons of Tea Party people. I mean, you're talking about Venezuela.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about socialism. You know, the mass media has got people brainwashed into believing that, you know, these are bad things in terms of taking care of one's own people. I just don't get it. But I'm sorry, I cut you off, sir.
That's okay.
Well, one of the things you have to understand is you can't get stuck on the terms of socialism and revolutionary, and although you really need to understand those words and how that revolution is just to enact change. You know, it's not some violent, bloody movie portrayed thing. But you want to get around those words, and you want to realize that these organizations that we're a part of, and these activities and actions we hold aren't for these. They're for the people. They're for our neighbors. They're for our communities. They're for oppressed peoples everywhere who are struggling and who are attempting to get into better conditions. They're just trying to survive. And so you can't look at this as a group of rebels and people who just want to overthrow the American government and things like that. That's not the intention. The intention is to help my friends, my families, the people I see every day.
So what I'm hearing you say, when you talk about being revolutionary, you're talking about a revolutionary means or way of doing things, not a revolt against the United States government. Such as the electric car is a revolutionary application, perhaps. Or using internet television is a revolutionary application of media. So you're talking about making sustained and very intrinsic, deep changes to the American culture and the American psychic in terms of not exploiting countries, peaceful means, as you mentioned, in Venezuela, of making change, and the struggling peoples all over the world. Right now we have 32,000 children dying in the world each day because they can't get enough food. The average person in the world lives on less than $2 per day. So there's certainly a huge disparity that needs to be corrected. And this is what I'm assuming to be part of your message here.
Yes, it is. And I think that what we're seeing right now in the United States is just this imperialism kind of taking its last gasp in a way. The way of doing business isn't working anymore, and we're seeing more and more disparity in the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. And as that happens, I think people start, they're more willing to listen to change. And that's all we're talking about, is changing things in a way that's more fair to everybody. And then whenever you hear of something like, you know, an African-led effort, then people are like, oh, this is, you know, reverse racism and things of that nature. And one of the things we learn under this theory of African internationalism is that racism really just is something that exists in the minds of people. And racism is a byproduct of capitalism. So that if you have a society or a system that's not a capitalistic system that's exploiting people, then that racism is really not part of the issue. It really somewhat disappears, because it's no longer making sure you feel superior to other people in order to make it okay to exploit them and to kill them and to take their land and resources.
So I wonder how many American people have actually read the Treaty of Leopoldville, which took the Congo away, and so people are being, they're having their arms and ears and legs chopped off right now to make Firestone tires to get the rubber out of the trees. So they're not aware of the exploitation of people in the so-called third world. When you call it third world, then it's this distant place. It's something else. It's not connected with us. So we're getting down to our last 7 minutes here. What do you need in order to build your solidarity branch here in San Diego?
Well, for Uhuru Solidarity, obviously I need white people who are open-minded, who can listen to the message, who are willing to learn and be educated about the theory of African internationalism, and who also want to commit to not only solidarity, but material solidarity in terms of raising resources, fundraising, and providing those resources to the African liberation movement. So we have a variety of campaigns going on. We have an annual event called Uhuru Pies, where we sell pies. We have furniture stores in Oakland, St. Petersburg, Florida, and Philadelphia, and all the resources raised from those stores are dedicated to the African liberation effort. So there's a variety of things that we can be doing as whites, but what I need is just a core group of committed white people who are willing to work hard and to work towards raising these resources in this community in San Diego.
Okay, are there opportunities for Latinos and Asians to get involved, or Black people? How would they get involved? What would they do?
You can speak to.
One of the major things is that although a lot of people hear the names of these organizations, the Impedum, International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Uhuru is actually a Swahili word meaning freedom. You think, oh, this is an African thing only, you know. But the thing is, Chairman Omali Yeshitela actually has a very strong relationship with Unión del Barrio here in San Diego. Me personally, my student organization that we started on our high school campus, ARSO, African Revolutionary Student Organization, we work hand in hand almost every day with MECHA, which is the Movimiento Estudiantes of Chicanos en Aztlán. And so there's this huge bond between all African, Latino, indigenous people who struggle on a constant basis. There's no differences between us. You can't separate us because we're all in it together in a way. One of the main things I want to ask my community and the people in what you can do to help us is to look around you. Ask yourself why Lincoln High School, this brand new high school built in my community, has a 10-foot metal fence built around it. Ask us why in the media, you know, you will get media coverage of Paris Hilton going to prison for days, but you won't find out about a massacre in Africa. You won't find out about the hundreds of people killed while crossing the border. There's just so many injustices occurring that are being ignored, or ignored isn't the proper word to use, not ignored, but people aren't exposed to them. People don't have the information available to them because they're fed something else. They're fed something to keep them distant.
So they're being indoctrinated as opposed to being educated in terms of what's really going on. Well, these are very important things. I'd like for you to mention once again this upcoming event you have. Could you please talk about that briefly again?
Yes, so African People's Solidarity Day will be at San Diego State. The event starts at 3:30. We still haven't pinned down the exact location on campus, but that'll be forthcoming. And also we're hoping at 7 p.m. at the South Sudanese Community Center that we will also be doing an event on the same day. So starting at San Diego State and then going over to the South Sudanese Community
That's
Center.
September the 16th.
September the 16th.
Okay, great. Well, this is going to require another segment because we have a lot of information, and we will be broadcasting more information about the Uhuru movement on internet television. I want to thank you very much for watching this segment and watching Progress in San Diego. We come on every Sunday at 5 p.m. And again, Elise Smith Cooper's show, Community Issues, A Tapestry of Concerns, comes on at 6 p.m. every Sunday. And Laura Thompson's show, Community Artist Network, comes on every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. I want to congratulate you, sir. You're quite an outstanding young man, and thank you for your vision.
Thank you.
That's quite remarkable. I intend to work with you as closely as possible to help you achieve your goals. If you want to learn more about the Uhuru movement, please call the telephone number that's going to come up at the end of the broadcast, and look at the website for the San Diego County Community Coalition. We welcome the public to join us in our efforts to stand for human rights, social justice, symbiotic environmental stewardship, and peace. Those are the efforts that we're placing so much emphasis on right now. We're expanding our television programs. We do need more people to volunteer and come out to be in the studio and also be part of our crew, which is made up of multiple people, multiple kinds of people, people of all ages, from the ages of 9 all the way up to 74 and above. This is a citizen movement. It is a part of citizen media. We need everyone to become involved to stand up for our rights. We have so many injustices occurring in our community. We had the civil rights movement destroyed by the drug policies. We need to reverse these things. We need revolutionary methods to be taken in order to restore justice, dignity, and human rights within our society. And we welcome you with outreached arms to come and become part of the San Diego County Community Coalition. Again, call the telephone number that will appear at the end of the broadcast and come aboard our website and join us in our efforts to stand up for peace and to stand up for weapons of mass construction as opposed to weapons of mass destruction. We want peace. We want prosperity within our community. We want to work together. We want to dispel the rumors and the superstitions that have inhibited us in the past for so very long. My name is Walter Davis, and I want to thank you very much for watching us and being a part of this segment.